Hey guys, this is Melissa Zad for Into Boxing, and I am so delighted to be joined by none other than Mr. Frank Warren. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Melissa. How are you?
I'm all the better for seeing you, Frank. All the better for being here. It was such an exciting press conference. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I agree. I'm really looking forward to this fight. Derek is a warrior. He knows he's not going to outbox Tyson, and he said we know what his game plan is going to be. He's going to be trying to knock him out. And they both changed their styles since their fight many, many years ago. So I think we're going to get something exciting like last. I mean, I fancy Tyson because I fancy him to beat everybody. I think he's the best heavyweight out there by far. But I think it'll be a good fight.
Do you know what? It's an interesting one because obviously this is a trilogy fight. There's a lot of naysayers that are like, is this going to be an entertaining fight? But as you say, the styles have changed. So it's almost like two different versions of two boxers that we're very familiar with in the ring.
Yeah, I hear that, but I do think whoever Tyson is facing at the moment, he's got the beating of them all. I do believe that, and I'm not going to kid anybody or try and say anything different. I think he's head and shoulders above all the whole division.
Do you know what? It's quite an exciting time because obviously we were hoping, the fans were hoping for the AJ Tyson fight to materialise, but there was deadlines put in place and pushbacks, etc. Can you shed a little bit more light about what sort of happened?
Well, nothing happened at the end of the day. That was the problem. Look, I think Frank Smith did a interview, didn't he, yesterday? And he said that they didn't think they were going to be ready in time. That's what he said yesterday. I wish I'd have known that earlier because we wouldn't have wasted our time. And that's why it didn't happen. At the end of the day, they didn't want it.
So instead, we have a very exciting fight on our hands in that of Tyson Fury versus Derek Chisora. Lots of comments were made during the press conference. What did you make of comments that Derek made towards you about the dress?
God knows, I don't know what he's on. I wouldn't want to be smoking it. I don't know what he's on, but wherever he's on, he can get on with it. Did you, mate? I don't know what that was all about. That he's a bit of a weird lot, isn't he? And a gagging order. What was all that about?
Was there a gagging order put in place?
There wasn't. It's a promotion.
So in terms of obviously, the fight itself, what do you expect to happen? Do you think it's going to be a knockout?
Yeah, I do. I think it will be a knockout. I think it'd be very exciting while it lasts.
Obviously, we have Daniel Dubois on the not on the undercard, so to speak, but he's the main support, exactly. Really exciting time for Daniel Dubois. He's sort of making the progress in his career. What do you make of the fight he's got?
He's got a fight against a guy who's got an extremely good record, and he's a southpaw, and I think he's going to give him a lot of questions, and hopefully he's got the answers to them. He's only lost one fight, and that was 8 years ago, and he reversed that decision by knocking the guy out. And he started off as cruiserweight, and he's campaigning now at heavyweight, and has been for his last few fights. So I think for Daniel, I think this fella's going to give him. I think he's going to give him a good fight.
In terms of obviously, I haven't actually spoken to you since the Joyce Parker fight. What an incredible matchup that was. Where do you see Joe Joyce ranked in this division?
I think the top five, if I look at the top five heavyweights, I think Tyson's number one. I think you've got to say Usyk, number two. I'd then probably say Wilder. Then I would say Joe. And I would also put Daniel in there because I think both of them have got the beating of the rest of the division.
Do you feel like in the future there might be a outcome whereby Joe Joyce faces Tyson Fury?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And in terms of that fight, obviously, it's one that the fans, particularly after Joe Joyce's win against Parker, are very, very keen to see. Where in the landscape of boxing do you think that might take place?
Sorry, is that what are they going over? I thought we were getting at you over there. Sorry. Apologies. Go on, sorry. Could you...
No. I was just asking, in terms of the time frame, when could that potentially materialise?
Next summer, if it happens.
Really exciting. Last weekend we had an all-female card, historic moment down at the O2 Arena. We've seen Raven Chapman here today. Amanda Serrano was on that Joyce Parker undercard. Is there a potential for the female stable to grow within Queensbury?
Absolutely, there is. Yeah, we're looking at that. We're working on that. But Raven's been brilliant. I mean, I love her. She's just a bit of breath of fresh air for us.
She really is, and what an astounding boxer as well.
Yeah, I mean, that helps, but she is. But she's a really nice person. It's a pleasure to be working with her.
It always helps when people are easier to work with, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So in terms of obviously, we've had in the press conference, it was mentioned the fourth potential fight between Wilder and Tyson Fury, and he might find his way back to being a mandatory. Is that fourth fight?
If he's a mandatory and Tyson's still fighting, then he'll have to defend, or not.
A very exciting time for the boxing fans within the heavyweight division.
We got Joe's the interim WBO interim champion now, and we've got Daniel, who's the WBA regular champion, and they're both mandatory challengers. So it's exciting times for the British heavyweight scene.
Does that make Frank Warren a very happy man?
It makes me very happy, because that's what we've been working on the last few years. I mean, it's not just happened overnight. We've had some, first of all is that we purchased Joe's contract. He came to see us, and we bought his contract from his previous promoter, and we did that for a reason, because we thought, he's a guy who's going places, and a lot of people, there's a few doubters out there, but he's obviously shown that and proved everybody wrong. And he proved me wrong in the fight with Daniel Dubois, because I thought Daniel Dubois was going to beat him, but it was what it was. But he's come on in leaps and bounds, and that last fight was tremendous against Parker. Tremendous performance.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't fault it. I thought it was fantastic. I was really, it was one of, honestly, it was, in my opinion, as a boxing fan, maybe I shouldn't say this because I should stay neutral, but it was one of the best heavyweight fights that I've seen. It was very, very entertaining. The last question from me, in the press conference, Derek Chisora made some comment about, let me give Eddie Hearn a call and try and fill out the stadium. What's your response?
Well, I don't even know what he's on about. I mean, he's an odd lot, isn't he? That's what he is. I mean, give him the call, fill up the stadium. I don't know what that's all about. I mean, it's just, maybe he should. Maybe you mean give the fella a call who said that we wouldn't sell out Wembley. Give us a call to the fella who said we won't do any business in Vegas and broke all box office records in Vegas for heavyweights, as we did at Wembley Stadium, the highest grossing ever event there.
I love that, Frank. Yeah. Always a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Nice to see you. Good.